my little thingy because, of course, this is Star Wars Day. I don't do things half-butt, so um, I of course have like an outline and everything. I have like all my stuff situated. Like, yeah, man, I'm ready for this. Okay, all right, here we go. Maybe. There it goes! Yes! Okay. Alright, so straight up warning. I am a crazy person when it comes to Star Wars, so just be prepared because it's happening. It's happening now, yo. So, here we go. So, hi. I am Lady Vader 23, as you can see from my channel name, wherever it is. It's somewhere on my channel. You can see it. I don't know. I am a variety streamer here at Twitch. I do a lot of different games. Currently, I am playing Oblivion 100%, or trying to. I am also doing Far Cry 5. And I'm also doing Kingdom Hearts, but that one's on pause for now because I'm waiting for my sister to come back from her place of vacation. So, yeah. So, you know, that's a thing. So, I'm also, more importantly, I'm also one of the hosts of a weekly show called Achievement Unlocked. I am the co-host of it with Katie Cat 2. She's amazing. I love her. Go follow her. I can't like do like a, I guess I could do like a real heart with my hands. I don't know. I'm such a weirdo. Like, here's the heart. Whee! So now today isn't necessarily like an Achievement Unlocked show, really. It's more of like a special because I'm a weirdo. We do our normal show Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. Central. Now, because today is May the 4th, and as you can guess from my gamer tag, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to Star Wars. I mean, I'm a nerd anyway, but like especially when it comes to Star Wars. So that's kind of my thing. So of course I need to do something special. And Katie Cat doesn't like do all the expanded universe stuff, but I do. So this is why I'm doing it by myself today. Afterwards, I'm going to be streaming some more Oblivion, so more to come. Now, I wanted to talk about some of my general thoughts on the new expanded universe. In other words, like all the books, comics, games. I'm having a mind fart right now. Basically, anything that is not the mainstream movies that they release in theaters. That's what we call the expanded universe. It expands upon the stories that you see in the movies. I want to make sure that I just realized my mic. I'm a pretty loud talker anyway, so I'm sure you guys are good. But I'm just going to move that mic just in case. Now, basically, before Disney bought Star Wars, there was a whole expanded universe, and then after they bought it, they said, that's all done, we're doing our own now. So I thought it would be good to just kind of go over what's worth it, what's important, but meh, and what's not worth it. And why you should care if you are a casual Star Wars fan, and why you should definitely care if you are a serious Star Wars fan. Let me really, like, if you're a serious Star Wars fan, you're not reading this stuff, like, okay, sure, fine. But then again, there are a lot of, like, really intense Star Wars fans that, like, are like, I will only read the old extended universe, that will be the only ones I read. Well, I'm going to tell you why you should read the new stuff. Because reading is good for you. That's not the reason, but it is good for you. And of course, we will be reviewing Infinity War on Sunday when we do our normal show with Kitty Cat 2. So, look forward to that. Now, why should you listen to me? Other than the fact, that I'm Lady Vader 23 and I'm dressed like a freaking nerd right now. So, let's actually just kind of really quick address the outfit. So, of course, you see my lovely X-Wing helmet. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I am also, you can't really see the straps, but I'm short, so. But I'm also wearing the medal from Yavin 4. My green screen is like, what are you doing? What's kind of funny story about this, so I bought this at Disneyland, and I was with a couple friends, and we went over, we're like in like the little fancy like merchandise shop, and this was actually a pretty good price too. But my friend finds it, and he's like, "Oh, Lady Vader, look!" And I turn around, and as soon as I turn around, he's holding it out to me. The throne room theme from that scene where they get the medal, like starts playing, and I was like, we just kind of like stopped, and like kind of like looked around, and we were just like, I think this is fate. So I was like, I guess that's my answer. I gotta buy it. So that's the story of how I got this. I always think that's funny. I just feel like some like Imagineer was probably like stalking, like waiting for that moment where they'd be like, "Ha! Star Wars nerd, play the song, freak him out, make him buy it." I'm also, I don't know if you can see it, but I am also wearing a Han Solo dress, also for Disneyland. Unfortunately, it was the 2015 version, so they don't have a current one, although I think they're coming out with a Han Solo skirt this month from her universe. So, but yeah, this is just like one of my many outfits. I have a Darth Vader dress, a Kylo Ren dress, like multiple shirts. Like if you're like a watcher of my stream, like you'll know that. So so I'm obviously dressed the part. Now, I also have over 150 Funko Pops, and thank you for the work, Lurk IFD. I appreciate it. So I have over 150 Star Wars Funko Pops. I'm sure everybody here knows what a Funko Pop is. If not, well, I'm about to show you a couple. So, yeah. But I actually I don't have enough space to display them anymore, so, I don't even have all of mine now, and people are like, "Oh, this is amazing," and I'm like, "Yeah, you don't have no idea." Now, I obviously am not going to show you 150 plus Funko Pops. That's not going to happen. But I will show you just a few of them that are my favorites. I really like the Luke Skywalker on his little speeder from New Hope. He's just so cute. I love him so much. This is in a place of honor in my home. I am also... He kind of fell off his pedestal. Hold up. Yeah, you can't just get one. You definitely just can't get one. Oh no, don't have the house blow over. This is one of my other favorite ones. Thank you for the follow, Slendy! Welcome to the Imperial Army! Wahaha! So this is another one. This is kind of hard to see it, but this is Han Solo on his Tauntaun. Look at the little Tauntaun. Look how cute it is! Dark side is the best side. You are right. They have incredible fashion sense. But I like the Rebels ships better. Well, they're space fighters, not their... I do like Imperial Star Destroyers. Those are amazing. Especially Super Star Destroyers! Anyhow. So, Star Wars gets me kind of like crazy. So, and then the other favorite that I have is a expanded universe character, Ahsoka Tano. She's adorable, and if you don't know who she is, like, you need to know who she is because she's amazing. I actually really hope that they bring her into a mainstream movie because everybody needs to know who Ahsoka Tano is because she's awesome. And I was, like, so happy when they announced this. Like, the day it came out, I went and I, like, stormed into Hot Topic and I was like, I need it! They looked at me like I was a crazy person, but, you know, I am a crazy person, so they weren't wrong. Little Pokemon emotes. I love it. Now, I also have, you know, everybody else, you know, like, all these people are like, oh, I'm watching New Hope today, and blah, 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 and that's great. But guess what? Every time I watch Star Wars, I watch the original cuts. I don't have the, you know, Han didn't shoot first version. Pfft, no. I have the original uncut versions of these things. And it took a while to get these. Oh my gosh, they were hard to find. Especially episode 6. Super hard to find. Oh my gosh. And the first one I found was scratched up. So, this one works, and it's my baby, and nobody gets to touch it. Unless I am there. So, yeah. Han shot first every time I watch it. It's great. So there's that. I also have a Millennium Falcon rug. I can't, like, show you because it's on my floor. Sometimes it pokes out in stream, but right now it's not. Because I'm better with my green screen than I've been in the past. I also have a Star Wars cuckoo clock. This is actually really cool. It's also heavy and delicate, so I have to be careful. Oh my gosh. This was a birthday present last year. This is my Star Wars cuckoo clock. And when it hits the hour, these lights up and the Star Wars theme plays. And it's amazing. And it's the official licensed one. This one was actually a present from Eat My TARDIS, and I love her, and she is amazing. So, just very, very carefully put that down. We're good. I also, dude, look at the lightsaber! I have a lightsaber! And it's not like one of those stupid Target, like, $5 ones. No, it's like the nice Black Series Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, Rey lightsaber. I was planning on getting all of them, but they're really not cheap. So, it's making my green screen go crazy. It makes the noises. Yeah, okay. So I'm being like a huge nerd because I never get to show off my stuff. I usually tone it way down on stream, but it's May 4th, it's May the 4th with you, I have reasons to go crazy today. So, I also have like 6 posters in my apartment. There's the plans for the Falcons. Oh man, like, Jackal, the full nerd is on tonight. The full nerd. I have 6 posters. I originally got it because I used to teach, and I used to be like hanging up in my classroom, but I don't teach anymore. So now they're hanging up in my apartment. I have the Falcon. I have the Falcon plans. I have one with all the characters for episodes 1 through 6. I have a Jedi and 2 Sith ones. One of them isn't hanging up though. I have to find out where I put that. And thank you for the follow, Jackal. Welcome to the dark side, the best side. Now I also have like this really, really pretty episode 3 themed blanket. Funny story about that. I had these roommates back in college who, when they left, they waited till I was gone and they trashed the apartment. TARDIS is amazing. I adore TARDIS. I just showed her cuckoo clock that she gave me for my birthday last year. She's amazing. Shout out to her. If you don't follow her, you totally should. Now, as I was saying, so my roommates like trashed my apartment like really badly. I had to pay damages. It was bad. So while I was cleaning up, I found that they left that little blanket in the dryer, and I was like, guess what? This is mine now. Booyah! So that's how I got that blanket, and it's like it's one of my favorite blankets ever. It's so nice and cozy, and it's just looks good. Now, on a more serious note, though, all that stuff that I've talked about, like anyone could buy that. Like, I don't know why like a non-Star Wars fan would buy all that, except maybe if they have children or something. And even then, some of that stuff is not for children, like that cuckoo clock. That do not give that to a 5-year-old. That'll break. But I've been watching Star Wars since I was little. When I was 4, I used to have like super super long hair all the way down to my waist, and my mom took me to go get cut, and like the lady was like, well, how do you want your hair? And I'm 4, okay, remind you, I am 4. And I had a huge crush on Luke Skywalker, and I was like, well, have you seen Star Wars? And the lady's like, yeah, probably thinking like, I want Princess Leia hair, right? And I go, well, I want Luke Skywalker hair. And thankfully, my mom jumped in and was like, no, don't do that, because I would not have rocked Luke Skywalker's hair. So Star Wars is like a really good, really close meaning to my heart. Always has been. I haven't been as intense my entire life with it, though, for reasons. But recently I have started writing fan fiction for it. I have a couple fan fictions out there that actually, a couple of them have been translated into Chinese and French. They have really good followings, which is actually really hard. It's kind of like Twitch. If you're playing like a really, really big game like Fortnite, for example, Fortnite's great, but if you're a small streamer like me, like if I tried playing Fortnite, I would never get new viewers because like there's so many other people doing it, right? Well, it's the kind of the same thing with Star Wars. That's like the biggest fan fiction place ever. So to be really big in the fan fiction world, and with all those followers there, that's a big deal. Especially to have it translated into Chinese and French. That's also a big deal. So I clearly, to write like that, I clearly have to really immerse myself into the world of Star Wars, not just the movies, but the expanded universe. And hi, Toast Pals! May the 4th be with you. May the 4th be with all of you. I've been saying that like all day long today. It's been crazy. My day's just been crazy with, yeah. I have also read Old Extended Universe, aka pre-Disney, and I have read a lot of the new stuff as well. I've watched both Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels. I've read the comics. I literally anything like Star Wars news, I'm up to date. Like anything, it's like I'll alert on my phone. My phone just like automatically alerts me, like, hey, new Star Wars news. Like, yes, I'll go read that. Literally, if you look at my Pinterest, it's all Star Wars. So, yeah. Star Wars is a big part of my life. So, I wanted to, now that I just kind of gave you a little bit of background of how much of a crazy person I am, I wanted to go into like the meat of the expanded universe. And yes, Star Wars is a must. And you know what's funny is like, people will sometimes try to troll me and they'll be like, oh, may the 4th be with you. Spock's my favorite character. And I'm like, yes, I liked Star Trek too. So I actually grew up with both in my household. So can't really troll me with that. So let's go ahead and get into the meat. So let's get into some facts about the new universe. First of all, I want to establish that there are sometimes some misconceptions about about how the new universe came to be. There's a lot of negativity surrounding the whole purchase from Disney. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of them have legitimate reasons, some of them don't. But one of the non-legitimate reasons is George Lucas has been wanting to sell to Disney for years. He always said that if he was going to ever sell, it would always be to Disney. Now, Disney did not just do like this random hostile takeover. I sometimes am a little cautious about Disney's taking over like everything, because they do kind of do that. But I think, at least for now, like I'm okay with what they've been doing, because I feel like they've, for the most part, have handled what they've purchased with reverence, or with an attempted reverence. So until, it becomes to the point where they're like literally buying like up every single company, then I'm like, okay, you need to calm down. But our lives are ruled by a mouse, whatever. So I will be talking about the upcoming Han Solo movie. Han Solo, really excited for that one. I was talking to someone last night. There's a lot of, one of the things that's actually a good point to kind of segue into this. I think one of the big concerns with Disney having this franchise is that they're going to completely mess it up. And depending on who you've asked, they already have, according to some people. I feel kind of weird, because like I feel like with every Star Wars movie that comes out, like anything that could potentially go wrong, like gets blasted into the media of the next movie is going to be a failure. Like they did the same thing for Rogue One when they did the reshoots, which reshooting is natural. Every movie does it. But it was like this big, huge drama of, oh no, the movie's going to be terrible. And then people loved Rogue One, for the most part. So, I think there's been drama around the Han Solo movie, but I am going to give it a chance. I am excited to get more expanded universe stuff, and I am hoping for some really cool Star Wars action, and I really want the Kessel Run. So I'm like, Kessel Run, Kessel Run, Kessel Run. I just want to see the Kessel Run. I don't care about the rest of the movie. I don't know why. I just want context, like mental context, every time he talks about it in the movies, right? So this wasn't some hostile takeover. Disney, I think, has tried to stay true to its roots. It's kind of hard when you buy something like a franchise like this that has so much expanded universe before. You can't say, okay, well, we want to make new movies. There's already all this material. Let's go ahead and just use all this material. Like, that's fine, you can, but if you want to like surprise audiences, you can't do that, because they're just going to go, okay, well, I'm really excited about the next Star Wars movie. Oh, here's these books, I'm going to go read it. And they go to the movie and they're not really surprised. I mean, not everybody does that, but a lot of people do. So you kind of have to, from a business standpoint, say, okay, you know what? We appreciate that this previous universe existed, but now we need to make our own. That being said, that doesn't mean that they've completely strayed away from it. For example, when they purchased Lucasfilm, the TV show Clone Wars was starting. Yeah, redneck hippie preach. Yeah, I'm going to do a lot of that tonight. The Clone Wars series, which is a really good series, by the way, we'll talk about that a little bit later, was currently happening. They basically, that was the last real part of Star Wars that had direct input from George Lucas. Although it had direct input, but it wasn't like, he wasn't like directing it, if that makes sense. So it was a very, very beloved series. People were worried that Disney was going to get rid of that, but it didn't really make sense to do that because George Lucas was actually involved. Whereas with a lot of the other expanded, universe novels and comics and stuff, he just signed off on it. He didn't actually get involved. So it made sense to keep that. And I'm really glad they did, because they have some amazing characters and premises. We'll talk about that later. They kept a lot of planets. They've been bringing in a lot of planets for not just some of the new novels, new comics, but also in the Star Wars Rebels series, they added in some of the planets from before. For example, they kept the planet Agmar, which was premiered again in Star Wars Rebels. It was originally the home planet of Keelan Farlander, the protagonist of the game X-Wing. Rebels not only reintroduced it, but used aspects of the planet in that show too. You know, they've done that not just for that planet, but like for like a bunch of planets. I mean, that kind of makes sense though, because like, if you have to make up planets, like, why just use the ones that are already created, right? Like, that makes sense. So it's kind of like little nods to it's a very small detail, but it's a good nod if you're really, really big into the previous expanded universe. Now, they did bring in a major planet, which is Malachor. This is a major bring-in, and I'm really kind of hoping that they come back to this. Maybe in one of the new movies, maybe one of the new TV shows. They haven't announced where they're going to go with this yet, but they basically kind of reestablished this planet that was a major part of the original expanded universe. It served as a site of the major battle between the Jedi Order of the Old Republic thousands of years before the events of the movie. Now, the episodes that this comes in for Star Wars Rebels is some of the most intense episodes of the entire series. Darth Vader action, Darth Maul, like, yo, like, Inquisitors, epic lightsaber battles, Ahsoka Tano. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like, I remember just like sitting on my couch going like the entire time. So I'm really excited to see where they go into more detail with this. And maybe they won't. We'll see. They also bring in Grand Admiral Thrawn. I love that man. I'm sorry. So I was a really big fan of the Heir to the Empire series. Very, very good books. Honestly, I still recommend you go back and read those books. If you can do audiobook, the guy who narrates it is fantastic. When he speaks in Luke's voice, he sounds like Mark Hamill. When he speaks in Han Solo's voice, he sounds like Harrison Ford. Like, oh man, it was a great experience to read. So I'd already like loved that character, and it was like, oh man, I really hope that they've said about maybe bringing in characters. I really hope that's one of them, because he was amazing. He was a great villain. And then they brought him in, and I was so happy. I'm still happy. Like every time he comes on screen, I just start squealing. And my poor father, he was watching the TV series with me, and he was just like, I don't get it. I'm like, you just don't get it. He's amazing. He's just, honestly, I would really say he is like he wars for top spot in best villain in Star Wars, I think. My opinion, definitely my opinion, but if you don't know Thrawn, you need to know Thrawn. Honestly, I could keep going. Like, there's actually a huge list, and Disney is actually recently announced as of January that they're looking to bring more characters, more things from the original expanded universe and making it into this new one. So it's like still got those familiar aspects, but they make their own story with it, and I love it. Well, so far. I may change my mind if they do a crappy job at some point. So let's go ahead and start with some couple reviews. So we'll start off with comics. I'm a big nerd. I live across the street from a comic store, a really good one too. So of course I have a lot of comic books, but especially Star Wars comic books, because of course Lady Vader 23, all the other nerdy stuff I've just shown you, it's kind of obvious, right? Literally, one of the things that you must pick up not just because it's really good, because it is really good, but because it is important lore. Is literally anything about Darth Vader. Okay, I might be a little bit biased because, again, Lady Vader, he is one of my favorite, he's my favorite character. But you know what? Like, he is just absolutely amazing in these comics, and they give so much depth to his character. There's 2 series. One of them is completed, and the other one is ongoing. Let me pull it up here. This is the one from the ongoing series. This is Darth Vader number 1. This one is the ongoing series that's currently going. Actually, gonna need to go pick up the new volume. But this starts literally right after the end of episode 3. And it's about the rise of Darth Vader. And it is truly epic. It does justice to his character. It shows why he didn't, like, turn on Palpatine immediately, or Lord Sidious immediately, after finding out my wife is dead and you said you could save her. It's been really, really good so far, and I definitely recommend this one. The other one takes place, and I don't have it with me, I couldn't find it. I have a lot of books, okay? The other one takes place in between episode 4 and 5. And it ran concurrent with the Star Wars comics, and they kind of played off each other. It was really nice. And it shows things like Darth Vader finding out Luke Skywalker is his son, which is an extremely powerful scene. It gives context. Yes, so we're talking about the new expanded universe, not the old one. That's, I guess Disney technically calls it extended universe, but they're both E-words, right? So we're talking anything past Disney purchase. So right now I'm talking about their new comics. So this one gives more context to some of Darth Vader's actions in episode 5, which I already loved episode 5, but like after reading those comics, I like had a completely different like viewpoint of that entire movie. And so people, then they talk about, you know, episode 5 and they haven't read the comics. I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand. This is what's going through his head. You don't understand. It's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, there's totally new ones. That's what we're talking about tonight. So, anything Darth Vader, new comics, you can tell because it's Marvel. Go to any comics bookstore. They'll be able to help you find it. I highly recommend these. They're amazing. Also, the Vader Down story arc for the completed one. Right? They just need to understand my feelings, my deep feelings for Darth Vader. Anyway, I like complicated characters, okay? But my favorite one was Vader Down. And it's just epic. Like, it's basically like the last 5 minutes of Rogue One for the entire thing. You know, that epic, you know, Darth Vader taking everybody out. Well, he's not just taking out, like, 5 or 6 rebels. He's taking out, like, over 1,000 people. It's pretty epic. Like, at one point, he's surrounded by thousands of rebels, and they're like, surrender! You're surrounded! And he just kind of, like epically looks around, and he pulls out his lightsaber, and he's like, the only thing I'm surrounded by, Ignite Saber, is dead man. Proceeds to take out thousands of rebels. Oh my gosh, I was like, this is why Darth Vader is a villain. It was amazing. See, Kylo Ren, I actually really like Kylo Ren. If I was talking the new movies, we would definitely be talking more about Kylo Ren. Unfortunately, well, I take things seriously. I've been told by
my friend Katie Cat that people come in to troll sometimes, and I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, and she's like, it's so funny. It's just, yeah. So yeah, that's just me. But I actually do like Kylo Ren, but Darth Vader is my heart and soul. But seriously, Vader Down. If you haven't read it, you need to read it, whatever. So that's the must do. Then there's the important but meh, and the important but meh comic is the Star Wars comic. This one is just labeled Star Wars. It's again between the period of Episode 4 and Episode 5. It kind of follows along with Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia in their adventures of trying to basically rebuild after Episode 4. Part of it does run concurrent with the Darth Vader comic, which is actually really cool because if you're reading both of them, you're like, this is Luke's side of that part, and that's Darth Vader's side of that part, and that's amazing! And they sometimes reference each other. It's great. There's a brown recluse in my room 2 days ago, and he's back. Oh no! Yeah, I'd probably react the same way, not gonna lie. May the Force be with you, good luck with that. I hope you kill it. Just channel your anger, use your anger and destroy it. Anyhow. So there are really, really good parts to this comic series, and then there are some parts that they're good, the lore is good, but it's also kind of like, this is really random. Like, there was like a whole part randomly where Luke finds like a journal written by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like Obi-Wan for some reason starts talking about Yoda. So they did like this whole flashback to a flashback. It's like flashback Inception. It's kind of weird. And it was good. I like Yoda, but like, it was good to know, but you know, yeah, I don't know. It ended up being like foreshadowing for like another arc later on in that series. So it was kind of random. But some things you learned by reading this is, first of all, Han Solo was married before Leia. Yeah, I'm just going to let you guys know that. And you need to go look up what happens, because it's amazing, and Leia's reaction is so much fun. Then some other things, there's some really, really cool stuff about Luke and him trying to figure out, you know, what his place is in the Force. Honestly, with the new extended universe stuff, they haven't talked a lot about Luke. So I really like that this gives me some more background on Luke and, you know, some of the things that he's struggling with. I also like finding out that basically Han Solo he became a general because it was an accident, really. Like everybody else, like in a normal situation, when they become general, they've like intentionally tried to become a general. But Han Solo literally, like, he became that by accident. None of it was intentional. And that those comics really make that obvious. I feel like Episode 6 kind of established it with the one line that he says to Lando Calrissian. But this really makes it obvious that he did not intend to be a general. He just kind of did it because he likes Leia and he likes Luke. So when they ask, he's like, sure. So I love the Han Solo moments. And also, R2-D2 is a fantastic droid assassin. Again, kind of weird if you haven't read it, but if you've read it, it's kind of amazing. So there's good parts to it. There's really good lore, but there's also parts where I'm like, just kind of hurry up through that thing, because it wasn't as good. So there's that. Now let's get to the bad. I don't even know what this series is called. So I picked this up thinking this guy right here, I thought he was kind of cool in Star Wars Last Jedi. What's his... Oh, his name is DJ. DJ, yeah. It's a really simple name. So I thought he was kind of an interesting character. I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of him in The Last Jedi. So when I saw this, I thought, oh, maybe this is like a continuation of like what happens to him after he, you know, sells him out. Like, I thought it was going to be a really interesting plotline. No. Turns out it's like one of their leading up to the Last Jedi comic series. They did that with Force Awakens, but I guess they did that with Last Jedi after the fact. And it's basically this random story about, like, just a random story. Like, I read it, and I honestly can't tell you, like, all the details, because it was just so random. And apparently they're doing this with a lot of the characters in Last Jedi, but, like, the new ones, and I really don't care. So I would recommend, if you see something that looks like this with the Last Jedi character on it, just skip it. Just skip it. It offered absolutely no value, and I'm not buying any more. Then I also, the Darth Maul one. There was a Darth Maul, like, comic book series, which I say Darth Maul, and you're thinking, Darth Maul, he was super cool. That should be cool, right? That's what I thought too. Well, it's basically, this is why Darth Maul is the way he is. That's what, like, the whole point of it was. And it was fine, I guess. But, like, his motivation, I'm sorry, was kind of stupid. I thought they could have given a better motivation. Like, it was good action. It was well paced. But it was just, like, the whole point of it kind of fell flat, because just his motivation was just so arbitrary. And that kind of ruined it for me, which makes me so sad, because they've done so many other good things with Darth Maul, but that one they didn't do very well with. So now that we've talked about comics, let's go ahead and move into books. So I'm gonna be honest, like, I only own, like, one physical copy of one of the books I'm going to talk about, because everything else I do audiobook. So let's start with the musts. Literally anything by Claudia Gray. She is actually a veteran to the expanded universe. She used to write for the old one pre-Disney, and now she is writing for the new expanded universe. She's come out with Hi, Chi! Hi! I love you too, Chi. Thank you. Thank you. Hi. I'm nerding out like a crazy person. So, like I was saying, anything by Claudia Gray. There's 3 books that I've absolutely loved. There is one for General Leia. This basically gives you some context to how Princess Leia became General Leia Organa. It also explains why Kylo Ren kind of has the Darth Vader obsession that he does. Because guess what? His parents never told him about, being related to Darth Vader. He finds out through the media, and it's a crazy scene, and oh my gosh, yes! It would be, oh my gosh, I am actually really hoping that the Disneyland Star Wars land has some, like, things where you feel like you're behind the cockpit of, like, a X-Wing or a TIE fighter. That'd be amazing. I know that they are doing it for the Millennium Falcon, which is gonna be awesome. Oh yeah. And the background does change. I figured that you could do that with OBS, and I didn't know that, so I'm so happy. Then there was another one where it's actually this one right here. This is the story of how Princess Leia became part of the rebellion, and this is ones I was super invested in from the very beginning. It's really gives you a lot of insight into who Leia is and, like, her mindset, her motivations, why she's so intense on being a leader in the rebellion, and gives you a little bit of a context of her first boyfriend. And it also, even more importantly, gives you context on just how many times Leia got really, really close to being found out to being Darth Vader's daughter before Episode 6. So there were some really intense moments in this book, and I absolutely love it, and I recommend it to anyone who just likes books, honestly. You don't even have to like Star Wars, just like books. There you go. But I don't have a physical copy with me, which just makes me so sad. But what movie do you think is next on the prequel movies? I think we're going to go and see more of the Old Republic. I'm hoping at least. I would love some Old Republic, like an Old Republic trilogy. Oh, that would be super epic. And would introduce a lot of people to that era, which was already so popular before Disney bought it. It was just, my heart. I'm so excited. But I also, they're doing Obi-Wan Kenobi. They're doing Boba Fett, I think. At least it used to be confirmed. I don't think it has been. I haven't heard anything about it in a while. They've also been talking about like a Yoda movie, which I think is kind of random. Honestly, like I kind of want them to do like newer characters, newer things, and things like that. But we'll see. So one of my other favorite books by Claudia Gray is this book called Lost Stars, and it's the story. It's not about Luke or Leia or any of the familiar characters. They're two new characters, and it's a romance story between a rebel and an Imperial. And it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet situation, except it has a way better ending. Like, I get really passionate if you can't tell, but like in books, I did. Thank you, Addo Kittens. Thank you. I've been really playing around with my stuff. So, but like, you know, when it comes to books, I'm a little bit more chill because I read so much. But that was one book, I was in the car listening to it, and like, I was like, get it to work! No, don't do that! Just live! That was me. Green Screen, I can talk, is so much fun, and sometimes though it like freaks out when I try to do something new. Like if I pulled out my lightsaber, which I will again because lightsabers are cool, it goes, "What are you doing? You are messing with my lighting." Ah! Okay, I'll stop now. So, yep. That's me. So those are some really, really absolutely fantastic ones. Another really fantastic one is the new Thrawn book. Gives you a prequel to Thrawn before he becomes Grand Admiral Thrawn. And that book makes you root for the bad guy. Like, there were multiple times I was like, yeah, get him! And then I was like, wait, the bad guy is actually the good guy, and the good guy is actually the bad guy. But I love it because I love Thrawn, and just kill everyone, Thrawn! And do it super classy-like. And it's written by the same author who created the character. It's very, very good. I highly recommend it. Especially if you like good, well-developed villains. Now let's talk about the important, but meh. What did I do for that one? Oh. So last year was the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, and they came out with this book that is short stories in the perspective of different side characters in A New Hope. So it kind of goes through the events from the beginning of the movie to the very end, from all these different side characters. Like they've got a story from the guy who decided not to shoot the pod when it gets ejected towards Tatooine. They have like a story about the no droids allowed in here cantina owner, and they've got all these different characters. They've got a interesting one from the perspective of Aunt Beru and Uncle Lars. So that one was kind of cool. But there were a lot of really good ones, and like it's all little short stories from these characters' perspective, and I really liked a lot of them. But then there were some that I was like, who approved this? Like, there was a couple that were just kind of meh, and then there were ones that were like, who approved this? So like, you guys know like that scene in episode 4 where Luke and Han are dressed up as stormtroopers, and they've got Chewie in like little binders, and they come out of the lift, and this little mouse droid is what they call it, comes like scurries across up to them, and it stops and it looks at him, and Chewie goes, I can't do it. I'm not very good at Chewbacca noises, so sorry. Well, they had a story from that perspective of that droid, and it was weird. It was basically a really badly written gay porn, basically. And I have no idea who approved it. I literally was like, okay, like, what is happening here? And so I had a couple other friends who read it, and they were like, who approved this? This is weird. It was really weird. And I'm kind of a little bit upset because now every time I see that scene, I just think really bad gay porn. And I can't like say anything to anyone because I don't want to like ruin that scene for other people. So I mean, yeah. So I don't even know. I don't even know what that was. But I mean, there are other parts in it that were really good, and then there were things that were meh, and then there were things you're like, who approved this? This is weird. So, yeah. One of the things I did like about that one was, there was this random, in the old extended universe, there was this random, like, story about, like, the droid that they almost choose over R2-D2, where it, like, you know, blows up. Well, in the original expanded universe, it was a Force-sensitive droid. And all of us were kind of like, that's kind of dumb. Droids are machines. They're not Force sensitive. That's dumb. That's dumb. Well, they fixed that story, and it was a much more believable story. So, you know, Disney doesn't ruin everything, guys. They sometimes fix things because that was a story that needed fixing badly. Now, let's go with the bad. The terrible. And you must absolutely skip this. It is a book called Catalyst. And it was such a boring book. Yay! I'm glad the spider is 6 feet under. I actually now have a bug flying around my room too, and I'm like, what even is that? I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see it. So maybe it resurrected in the form of a weird, creepy Satan fly running around my apartment. So this book, Catalyst, is like the prequel to Rogue One, and it's like the story of why Krennic and not Jyn Erso, Galen Erso were like friends before, like how they knew each other, you know, why Krennic was looking for Galen at the beginning of Rogue One, all that fun stuff. And like you'd think that would be interesting, right? It was so boring. It was so boring. Oh my gosh. It is very few times in my life when things have bored me more than that book. Oh my gosh, it was so boring. I didn't even finish it because it was bad. It was just nothing was happening. Like things that should have been exciting. Like at one point, like Galen and his pregnant wife get kidnapped. You would think that would be really, really intense, right? It wasn't intense. It wasn't intense at all. It was just kind of there. Yeah. So, skip that. Just do yourself a favor and skip it. Now, let's talk TV shows. Reading not your thing? Well, guess what? There's plenty of TV shows that you can watch really good. Honestly, like... sorry, my earphones are kind of falling out. Hold up. Why the mouthwash? Mouthwash is an interesting choice. I'd never killed a bug with mouthwash. Huh. I'll have to try that next time. Maybe I'll try it with that flying Satan bug. So there isn't as much TV shows as like books and comics, just because it takes obviously a lot more money and time to develop those things. But there are two major shows that are really, really big. There are the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. So here's the thing. If you are a Star Wars fan, you should be watching Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. You just should. At first, I didn't want to because, like, the animation kind of, like, weirded me out. But then, like, once I got past that, like, the stories were so intense. Yeah, I usually have, like, a bottle of Raid. That's what I usually use. Oh, Clone Wars they're both made by the same creator. So they're really, really good. Both of them. So we're actually going to talk about the Clone Wars first. So, here, say what you will about the prequels, but Clone Wars is epic and amazing, and I feel like at least with some of the people that I've talked to, yeah, right? Rebels is really legit, right? Some of the people I've talked to, one of their hesitations about watching Clone Wars is because they're like, well, I didn't like the prequels. Okay, pretend the prequels didn't happen and just watch Clone Wars and just watch it, okay? Because they're amazing. The character development is amazing. The stories are really, really good story arcs. Yes, so the Clone Wars, in terms of timeline, for the most part, they were, like, age-wise, like, so, like, when you start episodes, the first season, Ahsoka Tano is younger, and I feel like as she progressively gets older, it just kind of gives you, like, random stories about, oh, here's what things that happened during the Clone Wars. When Obi-Wan Kenobi is telling Luke that, Anakin Skywalker was a great friend, and an amazing warrior, an amazing pilot, these are the stories he's talking about. He's not talking about the prequel movies. He's talking about the Clone Wars. These are the stories, these are the war stories, I guess you'd say, that really make up that one sentence in Star Wars lore. They are for the most part just basically like little short arcs of here's what happens during the Clone Wars between episodes 2 and 3. And this is the series that made me fall in love with Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. His character was way more developed. The acting was better. But, like, I got to the point where I was like, I am devastated now that he became Darth Vader. Like, I was like, before I was like, oh yeah, that's really sad. But, like, after I watched episode 3 and I'm like, why would you do that? Oh, I didn't mean to turn on the lightsaber. Why would you do that? Okay, I'll stop. But yeah, it's intense. It's good. They've got some new characters in it that are really good. Ahsoka Tano. I'm gonna bring her up again because I love her. Look at her, she's so cute. She's an amazing character. She's a great female character. It's kind of funny because she started off kind of like people were kind of annoyed with her, but by the end of her, she's like now like a fandom favorite. Like, if you insult Ahsoka Tano online, see what happens. You will have like a legion of angry fans after you. I've never insulted her, but people have insulted her on my statuses, and then they got bad for them. I didn't participate, but didn't have to. Then there's Ventress. Ventress is a really, really interesting female villain, who is also more than she seems. She's a really, really cool character. Ventress, fun fact, was actually the character who gave Anakin Skywalker his scar. So, fun fact. So she's a good character. Then they have like other really interesting characters like Hondo, the pirate. It's very well done. They give you more context to Obi-Wan Kenobi. They give you more context to Mace Windu and the other members of the Jedi Council. They make you care for these clones that you didn't care for in Episode 3 and originally. They make you care. And I get chills just thinking about it. It's really good, okay? So I highly recommend it. It completely changed my outlook, and like anytime anyone starts dissing on the prequels, I'm like, no, you don't understand. This had some of the best lore, and here's why. And then they get to listen to me rant about why Anakin Skywalker is the most amazing character ever, and Ahsoka Tano, and all that fun stuff. And also, the romance scenes between Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala were much, much better. There were moments that I was like, oh, you guys are so cute in this. Why were you not cute in the movies? and then there were moments I'm like, oh boy, yeah, boy, your little Darth Vader tendencies, this is, oh boy. Yes, Ventress gave Anakin the scar in the original Clone Wars cartoon that aired before the Clone Wars I'm discussing, yes. Yes, so originally the scar happens in the first Clone Wars series, but she does not give it to him again in the second one. So, if you want to see that scene, you have to go to the previous one, and honestly, I've had a really hard time getting those episodes. Like, I've gotten them, of course, but it was not easy getting them. So, that one's a little bit harder to obtain. So, anyway, so yeah, it actually made me ship Padme and Anakin a lot more than the movies did. There wasn't, like, any sand. I hate sand. But you, Padme, you are not sandy. Let's make out. But you know what? It's a great line if, it's the greatest meme ever. I love sand memes. The real reason Darth Vader didn't ever go to Tatooine to find Obi-Wan and Luke was because of all the sand. Obi-Wan's like, I'm not even going to change our names because he's never coming here. Sand, man. So Clone Wars is an absolute must. 6 seasons, it's great. Currently it's on Netflix, so they keep saying they're going to take it off, but it's still on there right now, so go watch it. Then there's Star Wars Rebels, and Star Wars Rebels takes place a couple years before the events of Episode 4. And it basically ends, like, the whole series, it recently ended, like, a month and a half ago, I guess. It ended in, like, February, something like that. It ends right as Rogue One starts. And it's basically about these two Jedi. A Jedi who managed to survive Order 66, and a little Padawan who turns out to be Force sensitive, and he finds her. Which Anakin's actor? Because there's, like, multiple at this point. So it's tells a story of, I mean, it's like they're kind of the main characters, but then there's, like, a bunch of other characters. There's cameos from, like, there's Leia, like, there's a Leia cameo. Hayden Christensen, which is interesting because I've liked him in other movies, but part of it, I think, was script was not that great. There's only so much you can do with that sand line. But he's a sweetheart, and I do adore him in real life, and I had a big crush on him when I was a kid. But yes, you were right, his acting had some much to be desired. So there's a Leia cameo, Lando Calrissian, Mon Mothma, Akbar, and most importantly, there's a Darth Vader cameo, and it's voiced again by James Earl Jones, and it's amazing, and I love it! Oh yeah, poor little Anakin. Yeah, that actor has had so many problems in his life just because of that one role, that poor boy. So there's also an Obi-Wan and a Luke, kind of, sort of, Luke sort of, not really, kind of far away, but he's in it. So there's some cameos there. There's a lot of new characters. There's ones that I fell in love with, is like Zeb. He's this really cool, like, alien, like, warrior guy. He's super funny, but he's also loyal and super strong, and you can always count on him in a fight. Yeah, the Jake guy, he's the guy who played little Anakin, is currently in jail right now. He has schizophrenia. He was recently diagnosed with that. So I don't think he's going to do very long because of that. I think it was, yeah. It's really sad, and even Mark Hamill has gone out and said, you guys were not nice to him, and that was not okay. Mark Hamill, don't chew me out. I just love you so much. And just don't be sad with me. I never said anything mean about him. Then there's also Chopper. Chopper is this really cool droid. My favorite droid is R2. My favorite droid is R2, but Chopper is my second favorite. Chopper's funny. He's cool. He's kind of crazy, and I'm kind of crazy, so he'd be the perfect droid for me. For a droid, he's really well developed. It's good. He didn't kill anyone. I think he shoplifted. It wasn't like a major crime. It was something minor, and then when they arrested him, they had a psychiatrist look at him, and they were like, oh, he's definitely got schizophrenia. So they didn't even know about it until after they arrested him. Then there's Hera, and Hera is actually, she was in Rogue One. She was fighting over Scarif and the Ghost, which is their ship. They also have Ezra and Kanan, which are the Jedi. They are definitely a team to root for. They've kind of left some things open that I'm really interested to see where they go with their characters. And I'm really excited for that. Then there's Sabine. Sabine's pretty cool. She's a relatable rebel. I adore her. She's pretty cool. But basically, there's also like other characters from the Clone Wars that show up. So there's some tie-ins from that, and it's the same creator. So, of course, there's going to be that. There's Ahsoka, which is so great. I love her. I love seeing her adult too. It was amazing. Like, it's same actress. It was really well done. Her story arc was really well done, and she's basically, it's a joke now that she is basically Star Wars Gandalf. And if you've seen the episodes, you know why. I also really liked them bringing back in Hondo. Hondo is one of my favorite characters from Clone Wars, and I was happy that they brought him back because he's kind of crazy, and I love crazy people. But even more importantly, Grand Admiral Thrawn is in Star Wars Rebels. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Oh my gosh. Grand Admiral Thrawn, guys, I said earlier, my poor father, was watching it with me, and I was, squealing, and he was like, I don't understand, why are you squealing? And I'm like, because he's the most amazing character ever. And what's great is they have a lot of really, really good moments where they show that. So it wasn't like they just, pulled him from, the original books because people liked him. They took his character, they changed it a little bit, but, his important elements are still there. They make him a formidable villain. Honestly, had things not happened the way it did, and he's still alive, by the way. He is still alive. They've confirmed that. So I'm really excited to see what they do with him next. I'm excited for the book. The book would have come out last month. oh, I need to read that book. Sorry, it's a book with Darth Vader and Admiral Thrawn, and I need Thrawn. Sorry, I'm really excited. I actually don't know who that is. So, maybe he does. I'll have to take your word for it on that one. So, clearly I'm a little bit of a Thrawn fangirl. Just really, go watch Clone Wars, go watch Rebels, go read Thrawn's books, go see Thrawn. Thrawn is amazing. I really hope they bring him to a mainstream movie so that everybody can see the awesomeness that is Grand Admiral Thrawn. I love him to death. Oh my gosh. If you can't tell, video games. So, before you had these really epic video games, like, there was, I'm forgetting the exact name of it. But, oh yeah, the Force Unleashed video games with Starkiller and, all, like his rise and him being Darth Vader's, apprentice, his secret apprentice. So that was really cool. People really love those. There's a lot of really good video games. The original Battlefronts. You know, there's so many good games. There was supposed to be a third one, but then they canceled it. So, it makes me sad. It makes me so sad. And I actually used him in one of my fan fictions. So, yeah. I was like, too bad. I'm gonna make him a character. I don't care if Disney doesn't bring him back. You can deal with it. So, there are a lot of really good video games, and honestly, one of the things that I have to say about the video games now, they're so disappointing. Like, he was really cool. He was very cool. But, like, you don't get to see that anymore, because guess what? We just have Battlefront. And, like, so the problem with those games is, like, the first one, back when they released in 2015, I think they just capitalized on the fact that, you know, they have Star Wars, and they have an exclusive license, so we're just gonna throw out a Star Wars game because Star Wars nerds will buy it. And people did buy it, because, of course, we're Star Wars nerds. We want to play a video game and feel like we're in Star Wars. Like, I want to feel like I'm in Star Wars. But then you get this game, and there's, like, no content. There's no single player, like, there's nothing. And it's the same maps over and over and over again. They refuse to do anything except the original trilogy and Rogue One. And I mean, like, it looked like a Star Wars game. It sounded like one, but it wasn't. It was just whatever. It was kind of blah. And, you know, your DLC, if you had DLC and I had the DLC, like, I could play all the DLC without the DLC people, but if you don't have the DLC, too bad, so sad, you don't get to play with me. Suck it. Like, no, that's not cool. But I think that goes into more of, like, DLCs and some of the stuff behind that, just in general for the video game world. But you know what really made me angry? They came out with this Battlefront 2, and they were like, here's the cool things that we're going to do with this. And we're not going to, make you pay for DLC. We're going to have an actual storyline that's canon. We're going to do from all eras. We're going to give you lots and lots of updates. Well, guess what? They delivered on some of those promises, but then they, like, oh my gosh, we all know the loot box controversy, which, like, they took out loot boxes, and, I mean, they took that out, although microtransactions are back, apparently. I don't play it anymore, so, there's that. So, they're still looking to get all your money and bleed you dry. So, it was just, even when they took out the loot boxes, it became very, very apparent that their whole progression was just to force you to get their stupid loot boxes, because it literally was taking hours and hours and hours and hours to get anything done. And I don't have that kind of time. I have a life. I have a job. Like, I have friends and family. Like, I like Star Wars, but I don't like that's not gonna, I'm not gonna spend my entire life farming to, like, get all my stuff all the way geared up. And then that story. Oh my gosh. She was an Imperial for like 5 minutes. And you know what's funny is they actually did create originally a whole story from the perspective of an Imperial. And it was actually sounded really cool. But then EA comes in and they're like, yeah, we don't think that's going to sell well. So we're going to have you change the whole thing. So we get this half-done crap story that's already been done 5 million times. And, like, it was pretty. It felt like Star Wars. But it was dumb. And it just... I hope so. They claim that they've learned from this, but you know what? They haven't learned from this. They had a single player that they were supposed to be releasing, but then in October they canceled it. And now they're saying, "Oh, we're going to do an open world one." Yeah, so either they're going to cancel it or they're going to make it and it's going to be half done. You'll have to do a bunch of DLC, which if it's a big giant DLC, I personally don't care as much, but like I do care if it's crap. I don't want to pay a bunch of money for that. And furthermore, like, even if they release it, I'm sure that they're going to find every single way to make you pay out the wazoo for a bunch of stuff. It's probably going to be a similar model to Shadow of War, which I liked Shadow of War, but that pay to win crap was stupid. And you know what? Star Wars should be money. It should be, because it's a massive series. Like, you should be like, yes, I have exclusive rights to this franchise. It's going to make me a lot of money. I should not mess this up, because just as fast, I'm not going to make money if I mess it up. Because you are not messing up just with gamers anymore. You are messing with Star Wars fans, and both are very passionate people. I'm a very passionate person. And you know what? I tried so hard to play that game because I really, really wanted it to be good. I really did. I really just... But it got to the point where I was clearly unhappy on stream. And I didn't feel happy. And that's not how I should feel. Like, I now look at anything EA and I feel like this rage. Like, I want to turn into Kylo Ren and just... everything at EA! That's just my opinion on that, though. Like, it should be so much better than it is, and it doesn't. And you know what? Frankly, it's mainly because Disney is just like, they've gotten out of the video game business. They do some mobile games. They've got Kingdom Hearts, but they're really just you know, having Square Enix do that one. But this one is just... It's like they were like, well, we've got this Star Wars, we want video games. EA, looks like you're a good choice, we'll do that. Which was dumb because they've, you know, won worst company in the United States multiple times. Why would you do that? And I would agree. Like, Battlefield did well. It did well. The sports games are trashed. But, like, it should not have been hard to mess up Star Wars. It wasn't hard. Like, even, like, what they did with the core parts of their current Battlefront series, had they just not done some of the crap that they did, like, the base part of it would have been fine. They would have had something to build on, but they don't, because they're so focused on stupid things, and, like... It just makes me upset, because we used to have such great lore from the Star Wars games, and now we just have Battlefront 2, which has a really crappy storyline that we've seen before. And it's just... They could have done so much. So you know what? I would say, unless Disney gives the rights to Star Wars, which there is rumors that they might be, but I don't. They might hold out until 2019 when their agreement with EA ends. I'm hoping that they will give it to someone else who is more worthy of the title and the franchise. But until then, until they're out of EA, don't trust EA. They're going to try so hard to make you come back to your little their next Battlefront, whatever they do, or their next little open world that they're trying to do, which I don't believe, but whatever. And I just don't believe it. Don't believe it. Just don't believe it. Just skip it. Makes me mad. Just makes me mad. If you can't tell, it really upsets me. I just want a good game, okay? So I think that's a good way to segue into weaknesses. What weaknesses do we see in this new canon? I'm really annoyed about Luke. I know, and I don't think they'd ever remaster it. It'd be cool if they did, though. I'd buy that for sure. There are some remasters I'm like, whatever, but then there are ones I'm like, yeah, I'd play that. I'd pay for that again. Cool. I'm really annoyed with how they've treated Luke. And I'm not talking about Last Jedi. We're going to talk about that on a future official Achievement Unlocked episode. But for the expanded universe, they've been hiding him. They've been doing all that they can to hide Luke Skywalker. They'll mention him, they'll make some cryptic comment, and then they won't ever do anything. They won't ever focus on it. And you know, one of my favorite things about the original expanded universe was all the stories about Luke Skywalker. Darth Vader is my favorite character, but so is Luke Skywalker. Like, they are both equally my favorite characters. Just turns out that, Darth Vader's a little bit easier to collect for. But, Luke has always had a special place in my heart. I adore Mark Hamill. So I really want to read, good stories. What happened to Luke after Episode 6? And, it's fine that, they've got some stuff for between the one movie and between the movies, the original movies, it's fine. But, that's it. And so I'm kind of hoping now that Episode 8 is out, I'm hoping that we'll see more, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm thinking that they're probably going to, talk about him more after Episode 9, because they don't want to, reveal spoilers. And that kind of annoys me. I feel like if you are going to keep making cryptic comments, just save it until you're ready to make actual decisions on his character. Also, I really like Mara. Mara was his original wife, and she was amazing. And she deserved a place here. I'm sorry, that boy deserves happiness. That boy deserves happiness. And so far, they have not been nice to my people. So that's one of the things I wish that they would address. Are you planning on seeing the Han Solo movie this month? Absolutely. I plan on seeing it in IMAX on Thursday, the Thursday before it comes out. I am absolutely going to go see it. I am hoping that it'll be good. I will not make a decision until I see it. That is what I've decided. But there are a lot of people in this fandom that I'm pretty sure, had they just hired Harrison Ford to pretend he was young, there are probably people in this fandom who would be like, yes, that's how you're supposed to do it. But yeah, that's not going to happen, especially since Harrison Ford kind of is totally done with that character. It was done with that character in Episode 5. So I also think that some of the stories don't exactly fit together. So, for example, Leia. It's revealed in the Aftermath series that she is, that she has this vision of having multiple children. But then we later find out that she literally only had Ben Solo. So it was basically a cheap way to get people to think, oh, maybe Rey's her daughter, her secret daughter. But then it wasn't. And it was weird. It was really weird. So there's stuff like that don't quite mesh between stories. In the 40th anniversary book I was talking about earlier, even like some of the stories in there like didn't quite match up. Like the Battle of Yavin, like the scene right before it, like there were multiple characters that they're like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to Luke. Oh, but Luke is on this side, but then he's really on this side at the same time, and it just was like it didn't make sense even in its own book. I mean, like, but then there are those people though that like they grow up and they look completely different than they were when they were young. I've always looked pretty much the same. Like you look at pictures of me younger and you're like, oh yeah, that's totally Lady Vader. But then you look at people that, you know, you look at them and then when they were younger and you're like, holy crap, that's you. That's not you. That's not you. So maybe Han Solo just has one of those, you know, I'm gonna change my appearance completely. It happens. I've have friends who even at 25 years old, I look at them from like teenagers and I'm like, holy crap, you do not look the same at all. I would never have thought that was you. So it's possible, I guess. There was also a story. So okay, this is one of the things that kind of drove me a little crazy. So in the novelization of The Force Awakens, Rey already meets Poe Dameron. They have a whole conversation. Oh, I'm Rey. Oh, I know. I'm Poe Dameron. They have a whole conversation. That was based on a deleted scene, but it's still, the books are also canon. They are also canon. So, canon-wise, they already met. Then you have episode 8, where they, on screen, again, introduce themselves to each other. And I'm just like, okay, I get why you're doing this, because I get most people haven't read the books like I have, but, like, I'm also one of the people who read the book, so now I'm like, they introduce each other to like, twice. That's really weird. Maybe I should try that sometime. Like, if I like, meet a cute boy, and, like, my first time meeting him doesn't go so well, so next time I go talk to him, like, I'm like, hey, I'm Lady Vader, and he's like, what? I know, we already, like, introduced each other? Like, what's happening? I don't know. Maybe I'm doing my interactions wrong. I don't know. But, I don't know. That just kind of threw me out of it, and I wish there was just a little bit more communication, and just, what are we doing, and making sure we have all the details right, because guess what? Like, there are a lot of Star Wars fans who are going to pick that up. I have had people pick up things in my own writing for the fan fictions I do that are like, they're like, oh, well, in this chapter you said this, and in this chapter you said this. Which one is it? Well, you're really perceptive, because we are. People really love these stories, so of course, you know, they care about the little details, and you have to be careful with that, and I feel like Disney sometimes doesn't do that. They have the big picture in mind. They don't always have the little minute details that make it as good as it is. So, that's just an opinion, though. Also, seriously, that EA story, terrible. I've already ranted about that. I won't rant about it again. Now, what do I want to see? I need my Luke. I want to see more Luke in the expanded universe. And, like, he just needs happiness. Please, it was stupid that Jedi couldn't marry. Like, it literally caused the problems that led to the fall of the Jedi. One of the many problems. But it was one of the major problems. Like, that's dumb. Give me more information. I need that question answered. What did you do with this, Disney? What are we doing with this? I need to know. I want my Luke. That poor boy needs happiness in his life. I also want more stories about different time periods. I would love to see more of the Old Republic. I would love to see things from characters who are not force sensitive. I think the new TV series that's coming out in the fall is going to be that way, but I also don't know that for sure. So I'm really just hoping that we get some more characters like, you know, bounty hunters, or maybe we have the perspective of a different smuggler or a pirate or something. Like, I want to see stories that are different. Again, better cohesiveness between stories. Like, if you're trying to hide things because you don't want to, like, spoil the next movie, then don't write it. Save it until after you publish the movie. Like, it's not that hard. Go write something else. There's a huge universe to do. You can do so much. And I also want just more strong characters. Strong new characters, whether they're male or female, alien, human, droid. Like, I want to see strong characters. And so far they've been doing really well with that. And I want them to continue with that. So, make me fall in love with more people. So, there are definitely things in this fandom that need improvement. There are things that we don't know what's going on yet because it's still new. But there's also a lot of good things that it's new, but there's also a lot of ties back to the original expanded universe. If you haven't really given it a chance, I really highly recommend it, especially if you really want to know more about the movies, or you're like impatient for the next one. Get into the expanded universe. It's really, really good stuff. So yeah, that is my little spiel about expanded universe stuff. Now, I am going to want to play a game after this. But before I do, Sunday we're going to have a review of Infinity War. That is our Achievement Unlocked official episode. I do that one with Katie Cat too. She's awesome. I love her. We will be ranting quite a bit about Infinity War. I cried in that movie twice. So, stay tuned for that. That will be Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Central. Sorry, I have family who live Central Time, and yeah, it's time zones, man. What even is time? So, you know, that'll be fun. Hope to see you there for that. After this, I'm going to play Oblivion. I'm going to play a little bit of Oblivion. But there was something else I was going to say. We will eventually do whole reviews of the actual movies, but since I'm the only person in our little Achievement Unlocked that's actually done the expanded universe, I was the one who decided to do this because it's May the 4th, and May the 4th is amazing. But before I do a send-off before I go over to Oblivion, what is it called again? Okay. I'm going to play the Song of My People, and it's gonna be awesome. You're gonna know what it is in just like a second, because I'm just gonna go crazy. And one of the things that I love about Star Wars fans is all of the jokes that we come up with, and all of the videos that we come up with. YouTube is full of great ones. So this one's my favorite one. It's not a video, it's just like the song. And I am totally going to sing along to it because this is the Song of My People. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm doing it. Rocking and rolling. Down to the beach I'm strolling. But the seagulls poke at my head. Not fun, I said, seagulls. Stop it now. Everyone told me not to stroll on that beach. Said seagulls gonna come, poke me the coconut. And they did. And they did. Had me going like, then I could do but yeah. When these birds attacked me, when I tried to run, I fell. Then these kids start laughing, and then got hit in the neck with a hacksack. Where'd it come from? Now run, 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 jump. I could be your backpack while you run. Run, 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 jump. Now stop, put me down. I love to groove and boogie, yeah. Show you some dance moves, Add your giant feet out there on the beach. Could have outrun those birds. You're a psycho wiener. Let me grab my beater. The beat, please. Come on now, quit that banging. Hey, what's that stank? Put a fish in our basket. Oh yeah, I forgot I did that. You owe me an apology. Now hold your breath and see. No time is right. Birds about your face. Yeah! Run, 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 jump. I could be your backpack while you run. Swing from a hairy vine. I could be your backpack while you climb. Stand on one hand and lift. Rocks with your special gift. Run, 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 jump. Now breathe. Actually, I do need to breathe. Okay, it's a big log. Underneath that log, underneath it was a tiny little stick. And I was like, that log had a child. Someday, when you are older, you could get hit by a boulder. While you're lying there screaming, come help me, please. The seagulls poke your knees. Stop it now. I'm so sorry. Except I'm not sorry. I'm totally not sorry, and too bad. So that was bad lip reading. If you haven't seen it, which I don't know how you haven't seen it, it's a viral video. It is the bad lip version of Empire Strikes Back. It is amazing, and if you haven't seen it, you should totally go look it up because it's amazing. That, and also look up the Kylo Ren SNL skit. That one was also pretty good. So, with that little weirdness being said, I am going to go ahead and switch over to Oblivion. Oh boy. All that, you know, voice lessons my parents paid for. Yeah. That's what it came down to. And they're like, oh wow, what great use of our money.